I love that because not in our industry, but my father-in-law talked about how they just hired a lady from Chick-fil-A, and I can't remember exactly what she did, but y'all are both smiling, right? Customer service centered people, right? Well, they were having a hard time fill the vacancy of nurses at the hospital. I'm not going to say she just filled them out, but he talked about how like within 2 or 3 weeks that she staffed like all different types of the
Mm.
departments just like that because she cared. She asked questions. She was more worried about the client than herself, right? And so it'd be amazed by now going back to our industry talking about culture. For some people, it's just a buzzword, right? It's a
Right.
marketing scheme. It's not really who they are. And again, that goes back to what do you allow? I love what you said, what you create, but also what you allow. And I think that's so good because a lot of people can create anything, but it's really hard to go, all right, that's not tolerated here. And all right, let's just strike one. If this keeps happening, we're gonna have to have an exiting strategy for you. And so maybe talk about that, man. In construction, I know it's really hard to hold people accountable, but there's a way to do it, right? There's a way to have a hard conversation and not get over the top where it turns into that yelling, screaming match. So just talk about that a little bit.
A lot of it is driving the what and the why. So, and I think that's where most people mess up is they don't fully dive into and explain the why. So it's, hey, you didn't do this right. Well, why does that
Why
matter?
not? Yeah.
Why for them and why for the job or the customer? And being able to explain and dive into it and provide more training of this is really important because when this doesn't happen, here's the chain reaction of things that can happen bad. Here's the why I need you to do this versus I'm your boss, do it my way or the highway.
Right.
Like taking the time to train and truly explain why and that their
Hmm.
job is so freaking important. It doesn't matter what you do. If you don't show up, it's
Right.
a catastrophe. Like someone
Yeah.
has to fill that position that day that's not as good as you.
Right.
And explaining that why it kind of has helped us a lot of understanding it and stopping those mistakes from happening multiple times
Mhm.
because they start to connect the dots of I got it. And most of the time, you're like, dude, you've been doing this for 15 years, and they have that light bulb moment, even though they've been doing it for so long. No one took the time to explain the why. They treat them like bots or just units of production and not people.
Right.
If you can talk to them and explain it to them, and also know how they process and receive information.
That's right.
Some people are crazy visual and they have to be shown. Some people can be told once and they've got it, and some people have to touch it, see it, do it 5 times.
Experience. Yeah. Yeah, we've said a lot on this podcast that you can be someone that just takes orders and
Yeah.
then does it and you never know why you're doing it, or you can be someone that if you just know the why behind something, it's completely going to change how you do something because
Yeah.
it's not just hey, go dig that ditch. It's hey, go dig that ditch because we have to lay this pipe because the pipe's going to connect to the building. It's going to supply water to all the service, and there's a whole chain reaction,
On and
right?
on. Right.
It's a chain. It's like at the end of the day, because you dug this ditch, everyone who lives in this new apartment complex is going to have running water, right?
Yeah.
And you can trace it all the way down. But if you're just like, I have to go get in this dirt hole and do it again day after day after day after day, it becomes monotonous and it's never going to be fun, right? But like you said, I love that you're empowering them to say, look, you've been doing it this way for 15 years. You've been doing it this way for 15 years because of this.
Mhm.
And now they're able to grow because they start recognize, well, if I'm doing this way, why can't we do
Okay.
this way? And why can't we change this process? And well, what if we do this to make this easier, right? And
That's right.
then you empower them to start making changes in the company that in as a result make your company better.
Right.
And everyone gets to grow, everyone gets to rise in a position, you get to stay there longer, right? You enjoy what you do. But if you're an employee that just stays there day after day and never gets to make impact, never gets to have any voice within the company or make any changes because you don't know what the company actually does, then it's kind of a moot point, right?
Absolutely. And that goes into giving and receiving feedback that if you
Yep.
can give them constructive criticism and attach the why and thoroughly explain it, if they can be people that are humble enough to receive it
Yep.
and then flip it when they
Big
have
key there.
ideas,
Mm-hmm.
take those ideas. It might be a harebrained idea and the dumbest thing you ever heard. Encourage them. Maybe explain why that can't happen right now, But thank you for bringing this up, and any other ideas you have, I would love to hear, because
Yeah.
they're going to have something that could change everything in your company. But
That's
if
right.
you turn them
Totally.
into bots that just go do your job and then you punch in, punch out, that's all you're ever going to get.
Right.
And then you're going to be wondered why you have a crappy culture, why the company's not growing, why nobody's happy, why nobody wants to do anything.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Wow.
That's huge.
Man, think about it so Todd Walker and I both work from the general contractor perspective. And so a lot of it is how are we managing our trade partners? And so I think about it whenever you have just one guy that's a superintendent and he's the only problem solver, when you have hundreds of people on the job site, right? Going to this example, you could literally,
Bottleneck.
yes. And you can either speed the project up or you can really slow it down if you only have one person doing it. But if you're the superintendent that is on this kind of newer model that's coming into the construction industry and you're willing to let the people that are doing the work bring you the solutions instead of just the problems, man, you have an opportunity to really excel not only at your job, but really do well and like budget wise, relationship wise, how you finish the project out right. And you're creating a culture within the job site that means, man, we want to get this thing done together as a team instead of usually what happens is I'm dragging everybody across the finish line, right? And Walker, tying into what you were talking about earlier, or what you said before, your goal as a leader should be, I want to be impossible to be misunderstood, right?
Yep.
And so that's really challenged me these past few weeks with my wife, right? So I've been thinking about Walker mentioning that. That's just been in my head. I don't remember what we talked about Walker where that came up, but I was like, man, I'm going to try at work. I'm going to try to be just the best communicator. When someone I can tell I'm talking to, it's not landing well, I'm going to ask a question. I'm going to try to say a different way. But then I get home and I just want to say it one way, right? And
Right.
I'm just short tempered. And she's like, "Why are you getting so upset about this?" And I'm just like, you know what? You're right. It is my fault, and I know I'm the leader. I need to communicate better. I was not being impossible to misunderstood. Honestly, I don't even know what I said, right? My own brain can't even understand what I said. So you're exactly right. It's my fault. And so I don't know how I'm tying all this together, but I just think about the young people coming into our industry. Some of the goals you should have, yes, we want to learn the technical skills. We've talked about that a lot. But man, what Todd's hit on is relationships. If you care about the person in front of you, if you try to do your best to understand what drives them and what doesn't drive them, how do they process and receive information? Like you have to just be experimental with each person to figure out what's the best way to lead Todd and Walker. And if you can do that, the technical stuff's going to come. Like Todd talked about, we got so many training opportunities. You can learn how to build stuff. Like we got that. But if you treat the person in front of you like the person they're supposed to be, you're going to do amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just genuinely caring about people to try and figure where they're at here and where they want to go and having growth plans. And where do you see yourself? Where do you want to go? And I mean, we've literally told people, you want to be CEO of the company, I'll show you how to get there.
That's
Like
cool.
we build growth plans to try and get people from here to wherever they want to be. And if and some of it is you need to have a certain level of skill and some other things, and there's training for that. But let's just talk about what you want to do, because you might have somebody that took this position, they think they're stuck in there forever, but
Right.
actually meeting with them, getting to know them, and it's like, oh, well, you want to buy your first house. Like, yeah, if you want to try and work towards a PM level, or you want to be a production manager, or you want to be, you maybe want to get inside and you want to do sales or something, like, let's talk through what that looks like. We're not going to say no to anything, but we're going to build a growth plan and steps to get you there.
That's right.
But just meeting them where they're at and figuring out what they want out of life and having a conversation, you learn so much. Like nothing ever has gone wrong by meeting with our team and just saying, how are you doing?
Right.
What can I
Yeah.
help you with?
Yeah.
What's going on at home? We'll get to work, but what's going on at home? Are you doing all right? Like just getting down to the same level and just talking as people, nothing ever goes bad from that.
That's huge.
Right. That reminds me of a story Dave Ramsey talked about. He talks about how most people come in and ask for a raise or don't, right? They'll come in and be like, "Hey, I think I deserve this." Instead of you come into the conversation and talk about, "Hey, I'm asking for a raise, but I want to show you why I think I'm deserving of this. Over the last few year or months, I've gone through these responsibilities. I've done well at this, and I'm prepared to do this. what are some steps I need to take? Do you think, as my boss, as my supervisor, that I should be taking that's deserving of this raise? Because I don't want to just show you that I just want a raise. I want you to think that I'm deserving and I work hard
Mm.
and that I'm willing to take the next steps to make that. Man, if you did that to your supervisor or boss, they would just jump backwards like off the diving board, excited about having someone that's not just going to make it awkward for them, but also care enough to know, man, they really care about where they're at in the company and their future.
Yeah. And if you're at a company that's growth minded and about their people, and you just come to them and say, I mean, think about it. If you came out and said, I want to make more money, I need this, like instantly it's defensive.
Right.
But if you came to them and just said, hey, listen, like, I'd like to grow. I'd like to build a family. We would like to buy a house soon. I'd like to get to here in salary or hourly. Well, what do I need to do to get to those steps?
Mm.
Like in my mind, I'm like, winner, winner. Like
Right.
I got
How
somebody
can
that's
I get you to
motivated.
that point? Yeah.
Yeah, I got somebody that's motivated, someone that asks questions, so someone that says, what more can I do and how can I get better? Oh my God, I'll show you all day long, because I'll invest in a person like that versus give me $3 more, I'm going to the other company. Cool, go. Like
Right.
we don't get strong armed here. And if that's what it is, you'll bounce for the rest of your life because
Yeah.
they just don't get it. But guys and gals like that are worth their weight in gold that just ask questions and are open and honest saying, I'd like to get to here. Can you show me how?
Todd, how, through your experience, right, of actually stepping into this ownership role, how has it been for you over the past 5-10 years in your growth as a leader and having to learn how to manage different personalities and grow a team like this and hire and fire? And, what has that growth been like for you personally?
It's been interesting. So
Yeah.
we've scaled 5 times over from where I
Yeah.
bought.
That's
So
crazy.
a lot of the times I became the lid of the whole organization because every year we're growing bigger than we ever did. We outgrew our systems, our processes, and some of our people every 2 years. So it was like what got us here isn't going to get you there. And that was happening all the time because we were growing fast.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So I had to learn, I had to figure new ways to lead. I had to work on me because if I don't lead myself well, no one's going to want to follow me.
Really
And that's
good.
spiritually, professionally, physically, relationally. That's all those key areas of my life that I have to be excelling in and want to get better in if I'm going to be a leader worth following.
That's right.
That's
So it
super
was
good.
constantly reinvesting in myself so that I wasn't the lid of our organization.
The Law of the Lid by John Maxwell Walker.
Yes,
That's
You
sir.
heard
right.
it. That's my
That's
favorite
right.
guy right there. Man,
Oh.
I love that. And he also talked about how to lead others, you got to lead yourself first, right?
Yep.
So it's the same concept, but if I'm not investing in myself every day, if I'm not willing to continuously improve, the people that may be beneath me, if I own a company or I work for a general
They're
contractor or
going
a
to see
trade
that.
partner, they're not going to get better either. Like they see that and they go, okay, well, if Davis isn't getting better, then why do I have to? I can just
Right.
take it easy, right? I can just do whatever I want. So Todd, man, we appreciate your time. As we wind down, Walker and I always ask these 2 questions. My question to you is, if you were going to encourage someone to come into the construction industry, what do you think some qualities that they should have?
They need to be curious, not just about their position, but what the company does as a whole and different areas of what the business does. So if you can make yourself as valuable as possible to where the company can't do without you because you can do this and you can do this, you can do a little bit of client relations when you're on site, when there's an issue and your supervisor isn't there and you can intellectually talk to people politely and hold yourself and carry yourself in a great way. That's how you're going to grow. Being curious about why we're doing things, being curious about the growth of the company and just being open versus this is my position in the box I stay in. That's not my job or I don't need to worry about that. You will stick out like a sore thumb in the best of ways. And that will help you fast track your career and give you growth potential because not everyone's like that. I mean, most people aren't like that. So you will shine if you can just show that you're curious, be super freaking humble, ask questions, ask questions, ask questions, and then just throw it out there like we talked of. Share if you're at a company where you feel comfortable doing this and they're the right type of company. If they're not, and you should leave anyways, but asking, saying, this is the vision I have for my life. I'd like to get married at XYZ age and I'd like to have kids and this. And to do that, I'm going to need to start making some money and saving money. And how did you do it? I mean, if you've got a great leader that seems to have a great family life and they're put together well, take them out to coffee and just say, tell me about your story. How did you do that?
Cool.
Learn from who's doing it well. And be curious about people. And if you just have the servant leadership mind, it's going to take you so far.
I mean, that's incredible advice. I think anyone who listens to that, seriously, you kind of just gave them the blueprint to be successful in any company, right? Especially
you'll shine at mine.
Yeah,
and I got rock stars, and you'll still shine.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's crazy. It's crazy how much just wisdom that you just gave in the past hour that most people will just ignore or won't, they won't take it, and they'll just keep on living the day to day, right? And if you can be someone who is willing to take that
welcome feedback.
Yeah, thank you. Welcome the feedback, right? It's one of our values. If you're willing to someone who can welcome feedback and who cannot take it as a spite, right? As someone attacking you because you did something, right? It's not an attack. Right. It's corrective criticism, right? It's good. It's what you want. And if you can take that and apply it to a company, like you said, rock star. Yeah. So Todd, as someone who you've done a lot, right? You've kind of been in a little bit of everything, and now you're leading this company. If you could go back in time to your 20-year-old self, what do you wish you knew? What would you tell your 20-year-old self?
I'd say, hey, in about a year, you're going to have your first kid. It's going to be a total shock and surprise.
Wow.
You're going to pee your pants a little bit because you're going to be scared, you know what. But God's going to heap blessings upon you like you never imagined.
That's awesome.
He's going to bless you with the best wife, partner, best friend, cheerleader you could ever possibly imagine. That's my wife, Jamie. It might seem scary, but there's so much good coming. Just be humble and open to it, and God's going to do amazing work.
Man,
that's on the personal side. On the work side would be, don't take yourself too seriously. Stay humble, stay curious, and just keep asking questions.
That's awesome. Seriously, that's really great advice. We truly appreciate you jumping on here. Just learning about your story was amazing. We'd love to have you on again to go a little bit more.
That was quick.
Because this hour just flew by.
Holy cow.
And so, Todd, thank you again, man, for jumping on. This was fantastic.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, guys. I love your podcast. It's fun to listen to, and you guys are doing a lot of great stuff that needs to be done to highlight this industry and show that it is an amazing thing. It is evolving for the people that maybe think it's set in its ways, and the younger generation is going to transform this industry in so many great ways, and I'm excited to watch it happen.
Man, we appreciate that. Anything that you want to plug before we leave?
I'm good. I've been doing a lot of what I found is as I built my team and they're running the day to day, and we built this culture and the leadership team, and a lot of the day to day is happening. I'm getting more and more time to do consulting, and found that that's what God's really calling me to now is really the consulting side and helping contractors change and fix their culture, grow systems, processes, and build things that they love. So I'm just getting more and more opportunities to do that. So
that's awesome.
That's
really
cool.
It's cool once you get to the point where you develop the system right, it's working that you've built, and now you get an opportunity to help other people even more, right? That's amazing.
Yeah, I kind of worked myself out of a job, which was the plan. Right. Got a little scary there because I like fixing things, and I like helping people and doing stuff. And then things aren't broken anymore at my company, and it's scaling and it's growing well. And we've got this great culture and team. And it's like, wait a minute, I can help others. And that's part of my core DNA is helping and serving others. So very blessed that I get the opportunity to do that, and helping guys from New York to we're in Philadelphia, Wisconsin, Texas now. And it's it's a wild ride.
That's cool.
Blessed more than I deserve.